Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't really know I had an extra year until after that Ohio State game, and then once I found out, it was really a no-brainer. Just given the magnitude of our season, kind of what happened there, and then being from Eugene and just having all my family, friends, and the community behind me. I feel like I had some unfinished business, and this offseason has been incredible. Just having a chip on my shoulder, knowing that we as a team have a lot to prove. And then just enjoying one more last ride, playing for my hometown.
Do you feel at all like kind of a rare bird in college sports today, and that loyalty's kind of a hard thing to find these days, and you've had I don't know how many opportunities to not choose Oregon, going back to your high school days, and just continue to make that choice to always want to come back and take advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like it is rare. I always wonder why more people don't stay home and play for the team they grew up watching. Like I said, I was always a huge Duck fan, so I always wanted to come here. It kind of helps when the University of Oregon is in your hometown. A big household name like that certainly helps. But, I'm just blessed to be in the situation I'm in.
Did you come into Oregon at all? I mean, where was football on your radar when you got to? I know you didn't play the first year or two, but was it in the back of your mind? Did you go to games and wonder what it would be like to be on the field?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I thought going into my freshman, sophomore year of college, I thought football was done. I was done for. My senior year is my last year to play. And I was actually walking out of the HDC. I got lunch and walked by spring practice my freshman or sophomore year and was just looking at the guys out there. And I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm playing at this level, just with how big everyone was. And then walk-on tryouts came about my sophomore year, threw the pads on, and then kind of realized, once I put the pads on and my instincts came back, okay, I can play here. It's more than just size and speed. It's really about instincts and want to. That's what I love about the game of football.
Coach Wasikowski was encouraging or supportive of you and wanting to do that. Who, along with him, played a role in that decision for you to want to go to that tryout?
Yeah, he was very supportive. I was pretty nervous going into his office asking him about that. But he was like, yeah, man, I'll talk to Coach Lanning, help set that up for you. Obviously, my pops was pretty supportive with me going and doing that. Along with the rest of my family, it was kind of shot in the dark. I didn't really know what to expect. But after that first camp, I quickly realized that I do belong. And, I just kept working at it.
Hey, Bryce, the way last year ended, considering the build-out you guys had the previous 3 years, built up to that, how difficult was how it ended last year? How important was that this offseason pushing this?
Yeah, it sucks that you had to go out that way, but that's part of the game. You prepare to win, and you don't always win. This definitely propelled myself and the returning guys forward this offseason. I think even the new guys have bought into it. Whether they were on the team or not, they're still a part of it because now they wear the Oregon jersey. But as much as it still fires us and fuels us, it's a new season and a new team. So we're looking forward to this year.
Were you shocked? Considering what you guys have put into it for 3 years, were you shocked how it played out?
Yeah, I was pretty shocked, man. Walking off the field at the end, you wouldn't expect it to go that way, given that we'd already beat them. But they just came out with their hair on fire, played a better football game than we did. That's the way the game goes sometimes.
What do you feel like happened in that game that made it so different from the first game?
Man, I think they had a chip on their shoulder. I think after losing to us the first time and then losing to Michigan, they had something to prove. And when you have a talented team with something to prove in football, that's a dangerous mix. And, not saying that we didn't have something to prove. We were 13-0, fresh off of a championship, and they just came out hungrier with, better players and better scheme, and they beat us. So.
Do you guys feel like you have more to prove now because of the way that game went?
Absolutely. I'd say that. And, personally, I've always played with a chip on my shoulder. I feel like once you're a walk-on, you're always a walk-on. Regardless of whether you win the Burlsworth or win a championship, it's always in the back of your mind, you're never good enough. You always have to get better, and you're never satisfied. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yep. I've talked to a couple of them, talked to Jeff a little bit, and saw Jamari and Birch when they were back for graduation. But, all the guys seem to be liking it, and I'm excited to, touch base with them as the season goes on.
Does it feel
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say they're going above and beyond other programs. I think just the development as a whole, for everyone, and even a test to myself, where I've, body wise, where I was at my freshman year to now is just incredible. And that's a testament to the strength coaches and mentally, football wise, B Mike and Lanning and whatnot. So, yeah.
As far as you coming back this year and playing football, obviously you were drafted in baseball. Do you still have an urge to kind of swing at the cages? Still have that urge to still play the sport?
For sure, man. In the off season, obviously I haven't been playing any baseball games, but I'll still get in the cages. It's one of those things where it's for however long, it'll still always be a game and a hobby of mine. Like I love just getting in the cages and swinging. It takes my mind off of football. So when I come back, I'm fresh and I'm ready to roll. So I love the game of baseball and I'll always be playing it.
Is that something that you may look towards maybe a year or a couple years down the line, maybe possibly pursue at another date as far as going to professional range?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's as of now, next year, I'm planning on reporting, depending on how this season goes. And if the NFL draft comes knocking, that's something I'll have to assess once the season's over. And, I'll do that then. But, I definitely want to play professional baseball and, NFL football one day.
What is it about the Astros organization that, if you knew anything about it or just when you got drafted, what did you know about it as far as just the players and the organization?
Yeah, I mean, they've won 2 World Series in, I think, the past, 6 years, 7 years. So, that says something about their organization. And, I know that, they got a lot of young outfielders coming up and they do well developing guys. And they were really, really understanding about the whole situation, knowing that, I was a football guy and, this is my hometown. So, they were understanding with me coming back this next year and are, still willing to give me a shot down the road, which is really cool.
Did they retain your rights, because you stayed in college? If you, after this football season, were to say, I'm going to pursue baseball,
Yeah.
Are the Astros your only option at that point?
Yes, sir. They're holding my rights for 5 years. Yep.
What's you find yourself? Do you watch baseball? Do you said you get in the cages, but in what other way have you stayed in touch with the game of baseball since you last played for Oregon?
Yeah, I'd say watching baseball and then hitting in the cages and then staying mobile, like stretching and doing rotational workouts. Football, you do a lot of meathead lifts and you do some rotational things, but not like baseball. So I got to stay fluid in that regard. And, yeah.
If you were to have an opportunity in both, if you were to get drafted in football next spring, what kind of a decision do you face then, and what goes into that process?
A lot goes into that process. Just got to think about my future and obviously what game I love more. They're so very different, and I love both of them for different reasons. Obviously, where I'm drafted and, how high and, money obviously has something to do with that as well. There's no secret. But honestly, I think it will probably have to come down to, which sport I love more and which sport I want to ride out in the moment.
Did you, as a kid, have a passion for one of them more?
Man, don't ask me that. I think when I was younger, I played baseball way more. I love the team aspect. You get to hang out with your teammates. You're at the yard for longer. Some of my best friends came from the baseball diamond. But I had just naturally football and my instincts and, willing to hit someone that football came easier. I had to work way harder at baseball to become good, whereas football is just natural.
Did you think about trying to do both?
I have. Yeah, that's something I would love to do one day, if opportunity presents itself.
What were some of the baseball players that you looked up to growing up as far as admiring and adding some of that to your game?
You said baseball?
Baseball.
Yeah, I was a big Derek Jeter fan when I was younger. I played shortstop, so I always liked Derek Jeter. I like Kyle Seager, who played for the Mariners. I was a little bit of a Mariners fan growing up, amongst some other guys, yeah.
Bryce, coming into this year for the final college football season, talk about kind of stepping into the shoes of Jeffrey Bossa, a guy who was really a 2-year leader on this defense, and now you're the most experienced guy in that linebacker.
Yeah, I just try to be the same guy I was last year and the year before. Nothing changes. Just go about my business the same way, stick to my process, and I've always been the guy. If I see something that I don't like, I'll shout it out and make sure guys know. And if guys are doing the right thing and are playing good ball, I'll pat them on the butt and let them know how good they're doing. So I'm just being myself, and I think everyone else will follow.
What did you learn from Jeffrey Bossa last year playing with him?
Yeah, I'd say just film study and picking up stuff when we're studying. I sat next to him in our team meeting room, and then we'd room together on the road. And even like in the game too, he would point things out, whether it be a guard or a tackle. He's pulling, they're gonna run this way. Just stuff that takes experience while you're in the game. Like on film, I could point it out like the same that he could, but once you're in a game setting, it takes like experience and being able to slow the game down to recognize that stuff. So that's where he definitely came into play and helped me cerebrally in that regard.
Earlier this year, Brian Michalowski was asked about taking a transfer, and he said no, that wouldn't reflect well on me if I could develop the young guys that are in. What's your impression been so far of the guys in the room, guys like Dylan Williams, Braden Black?
Yeah, man, we got a lot of talent, a lot of dudes that play really hard. I think that's what's cool about our room this year, and you can see it in spring ball. I try to set the tone of running to the ball and playing like your hair's on fire. And, those dudes, I think, fit that mold and have always played football that way. Physical, and that's what an inside linebacker should be. So I'm glad that, they're proven that they can be, in the lineup this year and playing ball for us. I'm excited to see what they can do during camp.
Defense is going to look a lot different than it did last year in a couple of different position groups. What are your expectations for that game?
Expectations to stop the run and be the most physical team. I feel like Oregon has always been fast and flashy, but the new Oregon is, big and physical, so that's what we're going to bring to the table.
Bryce, we're going to go to Beaver Stadium for a Big Ten title game rematch again in September. That's going to be their whiteout game. Do you have any familiarity with the whiteout? What are your just expectations of going there for the first time?
Yeah, I don't have much familiarity. I remember they played Michigan. They sang Mo Bamba. That video's playing in my head a little bit. So I hope they do that again. That'll be a pretty cool environment. But, I'm just excited for the opportunity. You get to do something like that. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I already got family and friends hitting me up for tickets wanting to go to that game, so it should be a fun one.
Bryce, you were just talking about that defensive identity. How does Dylan Demon fit into that?
Yeah, that dude sets the tone, whether it be, off the field or getting extra treatment, extra reps in. It's an all-the-time mindset. And he is one of the guys that comes downhill, flies to the ball, and plays with a lot of effort. And that's what you want. And, any sort of guy on your defense, especially a safety, a dude that can come from the roof and set the tone on someone early. No, go for it.
Transfers who are coming in have some sort of assimilation period. They're trying to kind of win over the other guys in the locker room. Did his work ethic help kind of speed that up, I guess, on his part?
Yeah, he's a lead-by-example guy. And anytime – he doesn't say much, but anytime you can just let your work speak for itself and guys see it in the locker room, they'll respect you automatically, and that's something that he's done.
Playing against Ohio State twice last year, what stood out to you about Jeremiah Smith? What makes him so tough to defend?
Oh, man, thank goodness I don't have to guard him. But I would just say, his athleticism, I haven't met the guy, so I don't know when it comes to, cerebral and knowledge of, like, the playbook and defenses where he's at. But obviously his raw talent and his ball skills coming down with footballs. And, he's a good football player, man.
Can you give us a scouting report on Kenyon?
We call him, you say Kenyon Sadiq? Yeah, we call him Kenyon Sadiq, the freak, because he's looks the way he does, and he might be one of the fastest guys on our team. And he's incredibly humble. That's really good, especially when you're a heck of a player like that. It's easy to get caught up in the wash, but he's incredibly humble and a good dude.